Money is energy.
Yeah.
And we have to realize that everything you do with your money is energy, and it's planting the seeds of what more you want to create in your life.
Okay.
So if you keep having your money go to debt and debt payments,
hearing you talk about money and hearing you talk about wealth and finances and the energy of it, the vibration of it.
yes.
And I got to know you good then, but then recently we were in Costa Rica at, just like you guys always come,
Yeah.
you and Billy always come to our retreats.
Yeah.
And the plant medicine ones. And it was so cool to hear you. Victor and I have a business together called Full Time Purpose. And we were talking about like our financial beliefs and our beliefs about money, and the way you broke both I down and Victor down and could so clearly see our limiting beliefs around money or how we're wired with money, but not just in some like logical terminology where like money is this, but in energy, a soul, like an energy to money. And the way you described it was really was so eye-opening for me that after that conversation, I was like, Julie, you have to come on the podcast.
Yeah.
And thank you for coming on. I'm super excited to have you on. And I think everyone's going to love your energy and also the information that you share, because you talk about it in a way that's very relatable.
Yep. Talking
About the vibration of money and just the energy dynamics of money, but also a way that's very practical. What can I apply in my life, And what you do for a living is you manage money and assets for clients. But what you do is, I have a financial advisor that I've been working with, and what you do is very different.
Yes.
As I've gotten to know you and because you're not asking questions like where do I put my money, not knowing that your money is going and growing in energy into wherever we're putting my money is we're putting our energy.
Right.
But just in general, what was I think a lot of people that watch may know Victor and I. What did you notice about both my money beliefs and Victor's money beliefs that I think it'd be interesting for people to hear that facet of it?
Sure. Well, first of all, everybody always thinks that there's a right and a wrong.
Uh-huh.
And the financial services industry has really actually amplified that.
Yeah.
It's like my industry has kind of given off we're holier than thou. We know better than you. And so you need to fall in line and do what we say because we are more aware. And it really, there could be a higher education about money, but like with you and Victor, it was about honoring exactly who both of you were in that process.
Yeah.
And neither one of you were wrong.
Right.
And so it was about finding that marriage in between the two places because that's where the magic is.
Yeah.
And that's where the expansion is. And we don't realize that there can be this place. That's why the number one reason for divorce is money. And business owners, they break off partnerships because they can't figure out the money piece.
Wow.
And it's because we have all this shame, blame, guilt, and judgment around money that we really just need to start honoring the shadow side of whatever that is.
Wow.
And allow it to come to the surface and shine the light on it. And then you can find those magic places.
Yeah.
And that's what happened with you and Victor is that it was funny because when we were going, when I started to go after Victor, everybody started to comment who's known Victor for years. I was like, whoa. And then Billy goes, oh, this is where she goes. And I was just like, because he naturally doesn't open up. It's not a natural thing for him to do that.
Yeah.
And I go, wait a minute. Because I watched him. There was some little piece in how he moved his body.
Yeah.
And I saw his body intelligence telling me the answer.
Wow.
Even though his mind was somewhere completely different.
Yeah.
And with him having a history of being a personal trainer, I knew that that's where he would understand the language that I was talking about because he's very familiar with his body.
Yes.
And so I go, what was that? And you never know what somebody's going to say at that moment in time.
Right.
I just know enough to ask going, what was that?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden I started to find the blend between the two of you. And in the communication, I wanted to make sure neither one of you felt wrong for being the way that you were in the world.
Right.
Like you're a super risk taker.
Yeah.
And Victor is not.
Yeah.
And again, neither one of them's wrong. You're both very successful.
Right.
And you went about it in your own ways.
Yeah.
But so often when we don't do it the way that somebody else has done it, all of a sudden it's wrong.
Right.
And because we're shamed for our C's in our classrooms when we're kids.
Wow.
And it's like, it's okay to have a C because you're not supposed to have A's in everything.
Right.
You're supposed to have that unique gift, what I call your freak flag.
Yeah.
And you just need to amplify that in the world.
So the freak flag is the unique gift. I was going to ask you. I was like, what is the freak flag? Let your freak flag fly.
Yeah, it's just your uniqueness. It's who you are, and don't apologize for it. The problem is we've been told to tame our freak flags. That you need to conform. You need to be like everybody else. You need to fall in line. You need to, there's lots of falling in line conversations in the news these days.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, no kidding.
And it's about you really just to embody exactly who you are and who you're meant to be. And then more money shows up every time. But people don't know how to jump off the ledge.
Right.
Or even maybe not jump off the ledge, maybe just walk across the bridge. Yeah. But it's like, but you're taking a different path than what you've been taking. And then you got all these other, naysayers going, no, you're supposed to do this. You're not supposed to do that. And it's like, no. If you have this calling and this knowing, just know you do.
Right.
Like I had a call with a client this morning and she said, Jewel, but I finally got out of the family business and I'm now on the board of directors and I set up these executive meetings every 3 months. I go, but you're being called to the Amazon to work with the Colombians.
Right.
And on their property and the indigenous people. She goes, but it's the same week. I go, yes, but your knowing in your heart is telling you one thing and your head's telling you another thing. And you have to start with your heart and then add your smarts. Yeah. And more money shows up. Yeah. Because you don't know what's going to open up there. So between you and Victor, we found that blend between the two of you to amplify this next business venture with you guys.
Yes.
And both of you left that conversation very energized and like, holy cow.
Yeah, we left. Yeah, thank you. We left feeling like it's okay the way we are. And just to give people a little bit of a context, Victor and I have business together, and we both have very different viewpoints on money and abundance. And I've always had this, like, I am more risk tolerant, just like you said, and I get excited about things, and I get this kind of intuition to put my money into this or that. And the way I am with abundance is like, I sometimes, I guess, spend money like, oh, it's going to come back. That's kind of my mentality. Whereas the thing I've always been working on with Victor is Victor has a different family. He also has a different family dynamic than I do. He's got 3 kids and a wife. And he has a mentality where sometimes, even with our business, he's a little bit afraid when I'm like, oh, let's have this expense. Let's do this. Let's do that. And he's kind of like, well, even though we have a lot of abundance flowing in, it's like, well, I don't know. I don't know
tomorrow's going to be.
Exactly. Right. And that's kind of the mentality. And it's always been this dance back and forth where I'm like, yeah, we should invest in this. We should do this.
Right. And you don't ever want to feel like you're dragging somebody along.
Exactly. Yep.
And he doesn't want to feel like he's jumping off the ledge going, oh my God, I'm jumping naked.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good analogy, metaphor for it, because that's probably how he does feel. Totally. So then when we were talking to you, you were able to kind of look at kind of both of our own limiting beliefs, or kind of being able to see also how that actually works for us. So in our energy dynamic, it actually works, because one side of it is I'm really risk adverse, spending money, investing in Bitcoin and all this crypto and all this stuff. And just kind of jump in, whereas Victor holds himself back, or he's more conservative. Correct. But that makes a really nice balance.
Right. That is a match made in heaven, right? Yeah. So you're the one that's always going to push the envelope. Yep. And then, what do we always learn? That if you can stay in the state of being the observer. Yeah. And so if Victor can observe going, oh, this is his risk taker. Yeah. He's jumping off the ledge. Yep. But then honoring and holding boundaries for himself going, okay, I see the vision. But I need to do it within this kind of framework
container
so that I feel comfortable. So then the conversation went down the road of you and I, the 3 of us were talking about how you solve that is you say, okay, we just had this endeavor and it was very successful. Yeah. Now we decide on percentages. And I find like percentages work really well for that, because you're not saying I'm putting X amount of dollars here, X amount. No, because you don't know where that expansion and contraction is going to come from next. Right. So that's why if you use percentages, so you say, okay, I'm just going to use an example. So you had a successful endeavor and it was $100,000, right? Right. You say, okay, we're going to use 25% of it to jump off the ledge again.
Right, for risk.
And we worked with Victor. I was talking to Victor going, well, what's that percent? And we kept whittling him down to where his body then was calm. Yep. In that process. And that was the right number for him.
Yeah, it started at 20 and then Victor was like,
he goes, I suppose I could figure out how I could do 20. And he started going to his head. I go, okay, well, that's your head. What does your heart say? And then it was just like, huh? And then that's when it was like, oh, good luck in the heart. Right. And, Matt and Patty were both sitting there going, wow, good luck with that one. Yeah. And I was like, no, you know that answer. I'm like, okay, what if I said this amount? And he's like, well, I suppose I could figure that out. And it wasn't until you watch his whole body go,
Just
Like it
melts.
was like this sigh of relief and you feel grounded.
Yeah.
And that's our body intelligence. Our bodies are way smarter than our minds.
Yeah.
And the problem with finance is we're always trying to do it from our intellect.
Yeah.
Not from our bodies. And it's
Right.
like, what do you mean? My body has something to do with my finances? Like,
Yeah.
that's a foreign concept to most people.
Wow.
But that's where the intelligence is.
yeah, stored in the body.
Totally stored in the body. And it comes from our subconscious minds that we know from the studies that are out there. 97% of our response to the external world comes from our subconscious minds that are fully developed by the time we're 7 years old.
Wow.
So the houses and the communities you grew up in have created this foundation. So yours was the risk taker, and Victor's sitting there going, well, maybe I'm going to be a little bit more conservative.
I wonder how the risk taker gets formulated. It's a childhood experience, or you think it's just a mentality of not wanting to stay the same, so do whatever to break out of that box, or?
Well, so when you describe your childhood, all you want to do is break out of the box.
True.
You're still trying to break out of the box.
Yeah.
And this is where I'm saying, break out of the box. Go do it and own every part of it. And in that process, build your foundation. Like we were talking about one of the investments that you made.
Yep.
And it's grown 8 times what you originally put into it.
Yep.
And I said, okay, let's take some of that and now create more of a solid foundation. Because when our limiting beliefs start to creep up on us, we talked about leaky containers.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
So that we don't know where that leaky container is. So you could be super successful and then you wind up in a relationship, you're madly in love, and then all of a sudden, 5 years later, you're getting divorced, and that leaking container is your ex-spouse taking half your cash.
Yeah.
Like, you don't know. Or it could be a bad business deal that you get into that all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, that's $700,000 just went over there. You know, like you don't know where that leaky container is going to come from, or somebody sues you because you're driving down the street.
Let's go over a couple things real quick that I think will help give context.
Sure.
So first off, what's your definition of money?
My definition of money.
Or what is money?
Money is energy.
Yeah.
And we have to realize that everything you do with your money is energy, and it's planting the seeds of what more you want to create in your life.
Okay.
So if you keep having your money go to debt and debt payments, you're creating more debt and more debt payments. And I'm not saying walk away from your debts. I'm saying take care of the financial past while you're trying to live in the present moment and plan for the future all at the same time. So it's like cleaning up your karma.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's cleaning up your financial karma while getting in the flow. Like take the word budget and completely toss it out the window, because that tells you can't have something in life, and we can have everything we want in life. Infinite possibilities, right?
Right.
That's getting it, like decide how you want your cash to flow from your income coming in and expenses going out, because that comes from a place of empowerment.
Right.
And then your future is planting the seeds of all the things that you want to create. So we were talking about like your guys' business going, have a savings account that is named, literally an online savings account that's named future jumping off the ledge, risk-taking business opportunities, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Right. And some people have vacation funds, or, you know,
Right.
I always tell the story about how I always wanted a boat. So I had a boat fund, and I was putting in out of every paycheck money into my boat fund. And then I realized, I want a sailboat. And then I realized, I want a 34-foot Beneteau. You know, so I changed the name as I got more clarity as to what that dream or thing that I wanted to have. And then I bought a 34-foot Beneteau. That's exactly what I had then.
Nice.
You know? And so you create your reality.
This is a clip from the Daily Vortex podcast, where I post 2 times a week, and we go really deep on understanding consciousness, understanding how to raise our vibration, how to bring these spiritual concepts down to earth in a relatable and practical way. For the whole entire episode, you can click the link below, but also subscribe to that of the Daily Vortex podcast on either iTunes or Spotify. That's where there are a backlog of over 100 episodes, plus the whole entire episode length is there. On this channel, you will only be seeing clips moving forward. So if you want the whole episodes, you can click the link below. You can subscribe. They're also very easy to listen to. They're automatically downloaded once you subscribe. Plus, you'll never miss an episode. So this is where most of my intention is and my energy is going these days. And I look forward to bringing you many more amazing episodes. But for the rest of this episode, you can click below and you can subscribe to the Daily Vortex podcast. And I look forward to helping you expand your consciousness in a very practical and relatable way. So I'll see you on the next episode. And as always, peace, much love, and namaste.